Please give a nicer, much nicer round of applause for Mike Lawrence.
So, fun fact, guys, I haven't had sex in over a year and a half, and people ask me how that's possible, and I say all you have to do is just be yourself. I was with one girl for 4.5 years. She was my high school and community college sweetheart. And it's all gone downhill since then. I do a lot of online dating because it's all I can emotionally afford. And the girl said the dumbest thing I ever heard in my life on this date recently. She goes, so I'm in this new muse. By the way, this is what women sound like when you don't get to touch them. Yeah. I was on a date with Brad Garrett. She was like, so I'm in this new musical about slavery, and I just wish I could go back in time and study the actual slaves to best handle my performance. Which has got to be the most selfish form of time travel. Like, take that, Biff, in your sports almanac. The sad thing is, if there was time travel, that's what actors would use it for. Oh, Jesus Christ, it's so good to see you. Did my father send you as some sort of vision? No, I'm doing this dinner theater production of Superstar. And I just want to see how long your beard is, because I'm method. Real man of my craft. Guys, I don't drink a lot. I come from a long line of alcoholics. My family tree has a car wrapped around it. And I was raised by a drunken, abusive father, and people come up to me all the time, they say, man, there could be nothing worse than that. But I disagree. I think it'd be way worse to be raised by a sober, abusive father. Because then he actually lands the punches. But my dad, he did go to AA. He changed, and he used to take me, and it was weird being there because like he'd get up and he'd be like, you know, alcohol takes away everything from you in this life, but sometimes it leaves something magical behind, like my son Michael, and he would just point at me, and it's like, how is it I'm 6 years old at an AA meeting and feeling the most shame? It's not supposed to work that way. I am a child of divorce, and I really hate the way I found out about my parents' divorce. What happened was my mom took me out for ice cream, and she sat me down. She said, Michael, I am leaving your father. I'm going off to marry another man, and I'm pregnant. I know, that was really messed up, because that should have been 3 different trips to get ice cream. It took you 2 seconds of life. It's taken me 20 years. And I had a stepfather, well, steppapa, because I was raised on a cornfield. And I was always wondering, like, there's a Father's Day, there should be Stepfather's Day. That would be fun, you know, like you wake up in the morning, you eat a big box of Hydrox cookies by yourself. You're like, it's not the same, but it'll have to fill the void. And you can have fun Stepfather's Day games like pin the blame on yourself. You win when you realize you can't. And then there could be like Stepfather's Day greeting cards like, now that the dad I love is gone, thanks for being there to do my mom. But you put it in Comic Sans, so it's adorable. When I was 12, I walked in on my stepfather masturbating, and the thing you must know about him is that he's bald. And when a bald man masturbates, it's like he's strangling a tinier version of himself. Just wrestling with his inner child. It is not pretty. I really hate my dad's Cuban fiancée, Maria. who I always refer to as my dad's Cuban fiancée, Maria. That way she's more of a concept, not an actual person, and has no power over me. But she did this recently. She told me my dad was in the hospital via text message, and the actual text read, "Bad news, Dad's in the hosp. He's got an infamous foot. They might have to amp it." She amputated the word amputate. No me gusta, Maria. Now I'm so terrified I'm gonna get the death text any day now. Bad news, Dad fell asleep. Didn't wake up. Must have been his pros cats. Text back to make fun arrangements. Guys, I don't fear death. I would much rather die than be immortal. I think it would suck to be immortal because every 50 or 60 years your wife dies and you've got to get a new one, and each one has more rights than the last one. Hey honey, let's go out and vote. Damn it, woman, that used to be my alone time. I feel like I'm getting older to the point where Fleetwood Mac's Landslide is speaking to me personally. That's the don't stop believing for people who have clearly stopped believing. And I mean, it sucked as a kid because like I didn't have a grandfather. I grew up without a grandfather, which meant that I had to read The Princess Bride to myself. But I did have a grandmother. She's right there. I used to visit her at her retirement home in South Florida. I know that's redundant. But the name of her retirement home was The Preserve, where the only thing you have to look forward to is yesterday. And I used to visit her there, and one time someone knocked over a menorah or something and they pulled the fire alarm. And there is nothing more undramatic than when someone pulls a fire alarm at an old folks home. Like the most exciting thing that happened was an old man just stood up and yelled, "Let the fire take me!" And then he threw a Werther's Original at it. The most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life, guys, oh my God, I saw an improv comedy troupe bomb in front of their parents. And I hate improv, and it was really amazing. This one guy in the troupe just stands up and goes, "Hey, someone give us a suggestion of a place we should be at." And the dad just stands up and goes, "Law school." My mom, right now, she wants to manage my comedy career, which is weird. I was like, all right, Mom, why don't you give me some notes? And one of her notes was, "You should smile more. You have an angel's mouth." I feel I should manage my mom in helping her write pickup lines for pedophiles in the wooing phase. Come on, angel mouth. Keep looking at me with them rainbow eyes. I worked at McDonald's for 7 years, because when you love life, life loves you back. I said I was going to be there for a few months. I ended up being there for 7 years. So it really was my Vietnam. And if you're wondering how I can compare working at McDonald's to Vietnam, it's because you weren't freaking there, man. But what was interesting was one of my co-workers was in the Ku Klux Klan, because nothing says master race like minimum wage. And he would tell me about the Klan. The Klan isn't that much different from your regular men's club. It's just a bunch of white guys sitting around telling racist jokes. The only difference is they take all the punchlines out at the end. All right, Goober, listen to this one. A black, a Jew, and a Mexican walk into a bar. And that's what's wrong with America. I developed an amazing ability that I would like to share with you. I worked there from 1999 to 2006, and if anyone yells out one of those years, I could tell you the most popular Happy Meal toy of that year. So let's do this. I'm auditioning for David Letterman's Pathetic Human Tricks. Let's go. 2001, that was the Madame Alexander Princesses of the World collection, and I touched a woman's leg for the first time. That's how this works. I'll tell you the toy and then a sad fact associated with it. 03, that was the Pixar Anniversary collection, and I watched Last Action Hero twice. Once on HBO, once on HBO West. I won't tell you if it was in the same day, but I'll let you know I was wearing the same pair of underwear. Okay, one more. 202. That was when one of my coworkers named Gloria died of an overdose and Beanie Babies. Guys, I'll leave you with this. I have a major problem. It's that I can't put the past away. My favorite position in bed is still fetal. It's the only one I've mastered, and every time I don't get something I want in my life, I go back to one very specific moment, and that was my 7th birthday party. My parents had just divorced. They felt so bad about everything that they bought me my own bounce house. The only thing was, no one showed up at the party. So it was just 3 hours of me going, on the wings of love. The only thing that could have made that any more depressing is if the current 27-year-old version of me had visited the 7-year-old version, and the 7-year-old version would ask, so does it ever get any better than this? And the 27-year-old version would say, no, but this is the only time you ever get your own bounce house. So you cherish this. Then the 45-year-old version of me runs in and just starts yelling, we must defeat Skynet before the robots take over. Then I notice some guy in the corner, he's taking notes. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm in this production of Les Miserables over at the Y. And I just want to go back in time and study the saddest moment in human history. Guys, I'm Mike Lawrence. Good night.